Purchase Media.
Okay, before we jump into today's episode, we need to catch you guys up on something.
Yeah, so we're replaying our 3-part series on Leticia Stauch and her stepson Gannon. If you've listened to this one before, you know exactly why we're revisiting it. And if you hadn't heard it yet, honestly, prepare yourself because this is one of the harder ones we've covered.
So here's why we're bringing it back. On April 2nd, 2026, Leticia's conviction got reversed. Just to refresh everyone's memory, she was found guilty of first-degree murder back in 2023 for killing 11-year-old Gannon, and she got life without parole.
And when we say reversed, we don't mean anyone found new evidence or is questioning what actually happened to Gannon. This is a legal technicality thing. It comes down to something called structural error.
Basically, during jury selection, one of the jurors mentioned that his son-in-law worked as a deputy DA in the same office prosecuting the case, and that juror never got dismissed. He sat through the whole trial and helped decide the verdict.
So the appeals court said that's a problem, that it violated Leticia's right to an impartial jury, and they threw out the conviction and ordered a new trial. It was a pretty split decision, too, by the way. Not everyone on that panel agreed. One judge basically said her own defense team could have used a preemptory challenge to get that juror off, and they just didn't do it.
Right now, Leticia's still sitting in the Denver Women's Correctional Facility while all of this plays out. And it's not over yet either. At the end of June, the state's Department of Law actually filed an appeal with the Colorado Supreme Court, trying to get this reversal reversed. So now we're all just waiting to see if the Supreme Court even agrees to take the case.
Which means there's a couple of ways this could go. Either Leticia ends up back in court for a whole new trial, or the Supreme Court steps in and says, nope, the original conviction stands. We genuinely don't know yet.
We just wanted you to have all of that in your back pocket before you dive back into the series, since obviously a lot has happened since we first put these episodes out.
And we're going to keep an eye on this one. The second there's real movement, whether that's the Supreme Court making a call or a new trial getting scheduled, we'll be back with an update episode.
But for now, here's our original 3-parter on Gannon. Keep in mind, everything in it reflects what we knew at the time we first released it. All right, stay safe.
And make good choices. Bye.
Bye.
Today, we are going to cover the disappearance and tragic murder of 11-year-old Gannon Stauch. Some of you may know every detail of the case and have been following it since Gannon's disappearance in January 2020, and some of you may have no idea what we're talking about.
If this is your first time hearing about this case, strap in, because you're in for a wild ride.
"11-year-old Gannon Stauch was reported missing on January 27, 2020, by his stepmother, Leticia Stauch, who claimed that Gannon had left their home in Colorado Springs, Colorado, somewhere between 3:15 and 4 p.m. to walk to a friend's house. But he never made it there or back home. Over the next few days, hundreds of people would assist law enforcement in their extensive search and locating Gannon. By January 30th, 2020, Gannon was no longer considered a runaway, but listed as missing and endangered due to his age, the duration he had been missing, the cold weather, and possible medication he had needed.
Gannon Stauch, affectionately referred to as G-Man by his friends and family, was born on September 29th, 2008 to Eugene Al Stauch and Landon Hoyt, weighing in at only 1 pound 6 ounces, as he was over 3 months premature. Despite being given a 10% chance for survival, Gannon beat all the odds and thrived. Landon recalled a doctor telling her that if Gannon did survive, he would face physical and mental disabilities. Instead, he went on to participate in gifted and talented programs in school and was considered above average physically for boys of his age range. On January 22nd of 2012, Gannon became a big brother to a little sister named Lena. She idolized Gannon and called him Bubba. He was a superhero in the eyes of his loved ones. The fact that he was called Bubba breaks my heart because that's what we call my oldest.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I call my brother.
So that's what I was thinking about. That's what you've called your brother since.
Mm-hmm. Bubba was my first word. Yeah. So to hear him, the fact that he was called Bubba just really makes me sad.
Gannon's mother and father eventually split, resulting in Landon and Al sharing custody of Gannon and Lena. Their mother remarried and continued to live in South Carolina, while Al moved with the kids for his full-time National Guard duty. His career took them to Alaska, back to South Carolina, and eventually to Colorado. Gannon did well in school and had a lot of friends. He loved tacos, Nintendo, Sonic the Hedgehog, and his favorite color was blue. He and his father would spend time together playing video games and building with Legos. Al married Leticia Hardin, whose previous married name was Leticia Hunt, in January 2015. Al, Gannon, Lena, Letecia, and Leticia's daughter Harley Hunt from her previous marriage settled in Colorado Springs, Colorado.
We don't like when the murderer becomes the focus of our story. We're here to remember Gannon. But going over some of Leticia's background makes it apparent that she has a history of making questionable choices and has a propensity for lying. Letecia, also known as Tisha or T, was born on August 4th, 1983, which is way too close to my birthday for comfort, and allegedly received a doctorate in education from Liberty University, which is an online college. Before Leticia married Al Stauch, she had been charged with first offense domestic violence in South Carolina in 2010, but the case was later dropped. In 2001, she was arrested 3 different times, once in February for communicating threats, once in April for simple assault, and once in June for unauthorized use of a motor vehicle. She was placed on probation in 2002 following these arrests. In June of 2015, Letecia signed an annual contract with the Marion County School District to work as a social studies teacher. After attending the 5-day orientation and the first 2 days of the school year, she never returned to school. She ignored phone calls and didn't provide a resignation or contact the school to let them know that she wouldn't be returning. She stated she left the district due to harassment she received when requesting to leave the district due to an impending military move. These claims were unsubstantiated. The district also discovered she signed a contract with a school district in Charleston, South Carolina, for the same time period. Her teaching certificate was revoked due to a breach of contract.
When she moved to Colorado in 2018, she listed herself as a curriculum developer for District 49 in Colorado Springs on her LinkedIn and Facebook profiles. However, District 49 officials would later state that they had no record of Leticia Stauch as an employee at any time. She lasted 1 semester at French Elementary School in Colorado Springs before she resigned. Just prior to Gannon's murder, Letecia applied for a job at Mountain View Middle School for a resource manager position, which is a teacher who works with students who have special learning needs and manages the files and documentation for those students. Leslie Hicks, the vice principal at the school, was a member of the interviewing team. When she called one of Leticia's references, a woman named Connie Huddle, she noted that the caller ID said the number belonged to Eugene Stauch. A woman answered the phone, and when Leslie asked for Connie, the woman hung up. If you remember, Leticia's husband, Al's legal name is Eugene. Leticia's resume also stated that she received her doctorate from Liberty University and went by doctor, but this was never verified by the school. Regardless of these strange incidences, Leslie offered Leticia the job. The last time Leslie saw Leticia was on Friday, January 24th. She said Leticia seemed completely fine and didn't appear to have any issues going on at the time.
Leticia's employment history isn't the only thing about her past that leaves us scratching our heads. According to her husband, Al, there were numerous times during their relationship when she was either manipulative or deceptive. She claimed to be pregnant with twins and sent him an ultrasound as proof of the news. However, Al never went to a doctor's appointment related to this alleged pregnancy and was confident that she never attended one on her own either. On another occasion, she claimed to have been injured on the job when she either fell or a bookshelf fell on her, but he never saw any physical injuries on her from the accident. Letecia even admitted to making up stories about burglaries in their home, and at one point, Gannon threatened her with a knife. Gannon was a very kind child, and Al never witnessed him make any sort of threatening comments to Letecia or in reference to her.
Let's run through a quick timeline of January 27th, 2020, the day Gannon was reported missing. That morning, Letecia texted Al, Gannon's father, letting him know that he had been up most of the night with stomach problems and he was staying home from school. She contacted the school and let them know Gannon was sick and would be staying home. Letecia also texted her new boss, Assistant Principal Leslie Hicks, stating that she would not be able to make it to work because her stepfather had been hit and killed by a car. Why did she feel the need to tell her boss that her stepfather had died and she was traveling to South Carolina? I have so many questions.
Yeah.
Gannon had a doctor's appointment that day, but he never went. Instead, he went to Petco with Letecia and returned home around 2 p.m. He then left the home between 3:15 to 4 p.m. to walk to a friend's house, according to Letecia. The family had plans to go to dinner at 6 p.m. When Gannon hadn't returned home. Letecia began to worry. She goes to the friend's house to get Gannon, but they say he hasn't been there. Leticia Stauch called 911 around 6:55 p.m. to report Gannon missing. By 7:32 p.m., Gannon Stauch is entered into state and national databases as an active runaway. Authorities conducted an initial search of the Stauch home and took Leticia's statement, but Gannon was not located. Here's the recording of the initial interview Letecia did with police on January 27th. Please note we have it edited down slightly for time and to cut out any unnecessary information.
Well, the neighbors have been awesome, so they helped out.
And they could probably do more than we.
Yeah,
I mean, we got two bodies, so.
Exactly. That's what I was telling my husband anyway, because he was upset, and I was like, honestly, the neighbors have already pretty much done a lot of the work.
Yeah, there's a ton of them out there. So.
Yeah. We could get posts and pictures, and we did find someone did send us a video picture or something, and he was holding his switch case.
His what?
Like his Switch, like a Nintendo Switch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Not like a Switch.
I was like, I don't know.
So they've all been trying to be very helpful and the whole situation, because he was supposed to be here at 6:00 because we were going to eat dinner, and he said he was off restriction today, so he was going to go play with his friend, and his dad already told him he could play with his friend, and he didn't come back at 6, so I looked outside and saw it was sleeting, so I said, well, maybe he's waiting on one of us to come get him, so we drive to the neighbor's house, which I'm assuming he's at the neighbor's on the corner's house, and they're like, no, he's not here. So I was like, okay, maybe it's only one other person. So they kept leading us on all this chase of people who it could be. We covered a lot of houses, and at this point, the neighbors all stepped in and kind of went to the houses ourselves, and because they told me to wait here, and she went to a bunch.
Okay.
But sorry, I've been freaked out the whole time. To add to it, I'm almost positive he is with someone that he knows, because he searched on his phone, can my parents find me if my phone is off. He also, and I'll let you look at this, sent my husband some crazy stuff that was So he sent my husband a message that says, do we have any bath salt? And then my husband said for a while, asked me. And then, because my husband didn't think, like what he was talking about. And it says, my friend said if I get some, we could play, and he has a Sonic there this weekend. Because he's big into like Nintendo Sonic.
Yeah, right.
And then my husband said no. So then he said, can we play today if my tummy stops hurting? And so my husband said he'd call him. Then he said his brother has a car for a sleepover this Friday. So that's why we were trying to find some of the kids that we knew we didn't know. Other people that had older siblings. So that's how the whole thing got started with this Jimmy kid. We feel bad, but we didn't start that. So everybody goes pounding on this Jimmy kid's house and looking for people at Gafflin. And the kid was asleep, and he didn't have an older sibling. So it kind of got, how social media gets blown all out of proportion and things like that. So yeah, so that's pretty much what we got. And then and we did, my husband was like, go through his book bag and stuff like that. We found like a cigar in there. It was I guess a cigar.
Has any used the marijuana that you know about?
No, he's never even been like this. Like, he did start coming to...
brothers are hanging around and smoking pot.
The thing is, he is at Grand Mountain, and they're mixed with the, he's 5th grade. 11 years old, and they also have the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade there now. Now, I know the school does a really good job because I work for the school district to separate the kids in the different, like, okay, the 4th, 5th graders, 6th grade, but that doesn't mean they still don't meet each other in Larson Ranch, and that's the thing, because he does go take his bike up to Stingray Park, and is that the name of that little park? Whatever the park is up there.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And things like that, so that's kind of like, pretty much, that's what we got.
Okay. Did you give our dispatch the social?
My husband has the social. I'm going to have like a blurry version. I don't know if I can read it. But he was like freaking out saying, I can't go find social. I'm upset. He is me. So I was like...
And I apologize once again that we got pulled. I mean, there was something pretty urgent on the...
Yeah, definitely. You want to get people that are... He said he lost the socials.
So y'all have hit all the friends' houses, or at least some of the people that are out.
That we know. Is the social on his military ID? It might be if you consider him.
Was there anything missing?
No, there was nothing missing. He just had his game, which he's a huge, like crazy Mario, Sonic. He had that with him, and that's it. That's all we see missing. Because my husband immediately said, "Go look for the guns." And like I immediately went in there and I couldn't find one, so I was panicking. But you know how you're looking for something, and and so I'm like, oh my God, it's gone. And then I realized, like, okay, it was hid behind some clothes, whatever. So all the guns are accounted for.
Clothing wise.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't. We didn't see any
toiletries.
Nope.
Does he have like a wallet that he carries around with like school ID?
The phone fit the wallet.
Okay, like one of the attached case, like the
yeah, an actual wallet.
Oh, okay.
His phone was with the wallet, and he had left it in his room.
And is the phone turned off, have y'all? Has anybody tried the phone?
Well, I have his phone. He left the phone here with the wallet.
Oh, okay.
That's how we went.
So how do you know? So he must have used somebody else's Facebook? Is that what you're thinking? That like he logged in somebody else's and asked that question if can my parents find me, or was that on?
No.
His search history.
It was in his search history prior to this happening.
Okay.
So he had already like searched this information. He had deleted a bunch of things too, because it would have like one thing searched for one day specific, and it was like, okay, we know you were on YouTube, we know you're on this, you should be, whatever. And there was a lot of messages deleted, for example, his grandma or Nana, he had everything deleted, but we've reached out to all of them, and he hasn't been in contact with with any of them, because they all live on the East Coast.
Oh, okay.
So
has there been any family issues other than,
No.
the strange thing was asking about the basketball.
What happened last night? So he was upset about last night because he's grounded from his switch. Like I told you, it's all around the switch.
Well, yeah, there was a restriction. Yeah, you said that, but it was lifted.
So yeah, it was lifted today. But last night he had, so we have 2 little small dogs, and he has really bad problems with his stomach because he takes Vyvanse every day. So when he doesn't, the weekends.
Is that like the medication that you list, ADHD?
For ADHD, right?
Okay.
So the weekends we don't give it to him. So on the weekends when you don't give it to him, your stomach starts to kind of work. Anyway, needless to say, messes his stomach up. We went on a hike yesterday. He like pooped in his pants like 3 times. And you're supposed to give it to him every day, but if we go on a hike, I try not to because he'll be zombie and, you know, hiking and stuff like that. So he said, this is what he told me and his sister. She's already asleep now. She's only 8. But he told me and his sister that he thought somebody was coming downstairs. So he immediately like tried to hide it. He knocked the candle over and it set the carpet downstairs on fire. Now it was nothing big, like a 12 by 12 spot. So I honestly wasn't even going to tell my husband. We went in there, we were like going to cut it out and like just replace it later. Not
I get you.
You know, like, because if I called you and said, someone burned down the carpet, you're freaking out.
You said fire, so I was thinking,
Exactly. So I just took the covers that he was, laying down, like and I just like threw it on there because I got my daughter out and the dog's out. She was working. And it was.
You can have everybody now.
I know. It was something that we were just like.
No.
Did he take his bike?
No.
Okay, because somebody saw a little kid on a bike. They posted it, but I didn't know if he brought it.
Well, he did, unless he took it sooner and brought it back because Lena ended up getting a bike and rides the bike because hers had broke. When she ran into him, I say ran into him as in not physically, but she somehow got his bike because hers wouldn't work. So he could have at
So
one
they were
point.
here. Okay.
Yeah.
They were supposed to go pick him up for dinner. And he never came home. They thought he was at his friend's house. He was like, they started sleeping, so they were going to pick him up down the road. And he was never there. And he never went to his friend's house.
He was on.
Okay.
And he was taking the switch.
Do you mind if my partner looks around the house real quick? Just because kids, they hide. And they can hide for hours. And you'd be surprised.
Already checked the ADT, there's kids here. I say kids here.
There's my sister and 2 dogs.
Okay. Grab her ID too when you're done.
He was out there because they left and blah blah blah. Somewhere wherever my wallet is at.
So just tell me a timeline. I know you said that y'all were gonna go eat at 6.
Yeah, so it was.
You're supposed to meet y'all back here, but you went down there because you started sleeping.
Right. So
what happened between that and the time you got out of school?
Okay, so 3:15ish, 3:20ish, they usually come in every day and they have to like ride laps or something, you know, like physical activities or something like that. But since his stomach was hurt and his daddy told him he could go ahead and get his like switch time back. So that's pretty much it. They usually get snacks and we always require them like, hey, you have to go outside, you know, like all these things. So
pretty active then, huh?
Yeah.
So he did that. He didn't do that because you said his stomach was hurting. What happened instead of him doing that?
Instead of what?
Doing that.
He had already talked to my husband about being off restriction. So he said he was going to his friend's house to play video games.
And what time? He left at 3:30?
I don't know the exact time because I was correcting his carpet thing downstairs.
Okay, so he left at that time.
Like my husband's like more free than I am with the situation. Like I kind of always like, whose house you going to? Give me their number. That's how it was with her. But like he's like, as long as their neighbor ride, you know, they can ride bikes. Everyone's together type thing. So so all the time they go and ride and meet friends. That's how we knew to go to different people's house because sometimes.
What time did you notice that he left to go? I mean, what time? Between the 3:15 and when did you notice he left?
I came back up here at like maybe like 4 o'clock and
he was already gone.
Right, but then Lena came back in the house, which is the sister, and she said that she had to get his bike because her bike wasn't working, so he gave her his bike or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he left before 4, between 3:15 and 4. Okay.
Does he normally leave out the front door? Or would he have normally left out the front door?
Or the garage. They're free to do both, or the back because he takes trash out.
Well, we have a lock on that now, so.
Well, the only reason I asked, it looked like there was a ring doorbell.
Yeah, we already. That's how I told you that we already knew that he had left. Yeah.
And what time was that? Just so we have it for dark.
We don't have the video recording. We just have like the thing on the ring.
Oh, okay.
We don't pay the fee.
Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can go ahead and grab your ID.
Oh yeah, that's all right. I was looking all out.
Yeah, you're fine. Would he have left his phone? Yeah.
Sorry?
Would he normally left his phone here? Does he take it with him often anywhere?
It kind of so depends on what we tell him. If they were to say like, oh yeah, you can take your phone. You can't take it.
Does he have service?
He does.
Is that his phone? Which one?
Yeah, this one's his phone.
Who's that?
His mom.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know what she's doing. Because she must be having her own thing. It might be in that big pile of...
If she's looking for ID, just go grab her name and date of birth.
I think it might be, I'm just waiting on him, because it might be in the
I
same
can
hall.
get your name and date of birth. Yeah. But it's okay. We can just get your name and date of birth.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, it might be in the center console. Alright, so Letecia, T-C-I-A. Stauch, T-E-C-I-A. Stauch. And S-T-A-U-C-H. And
1971, 111 verbal out of South Carolina.
And the number you called, were you the one that called, or was it your husband?
no, I called 911, and then they said call like a non-line or something. And
Called
called a bunch of lines, and then it will, like a couple, like their Nana called another line. So
Okay. Get her telephone number too, though, because they might not have a good contact if there's several people that called.
Phone number?
Do you have a picture of him on your phone?
Mom.
Can you?
the ones we all have are like mostly him and his sister together. I mean, can you crop that out, or is it?
Yeah, if you want to, too. I mean,
Yeah.
on your phone, you can send it.
So this
And
is the one that everyone has been sending. Is this one? Do you want me to send it to who?
Yeah, his phone. Has anybody been saying anything on the Facebook post or whatever that people are talking about?
Just that they're looking.
Okay. Nothing.
I accidentally let it lock. I'm sorry.
So y'all contacted all the friends that y'all know about at this point. Parents, any of them saying anything that you know about that they said they haven't seen him today as well? Nothing like that. Okay. Nothing other than him taking his Switch, his game thing. Nothing else missing. He didn't ride his bike. You just told her, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Nothing other than that. There are no suspicious circumstances. I mean, other than some weird text that I guess he was sending Dad about bath salts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He's got some other information, just some medical stuff that we would like to have, and he's already listed as runaway. So if he's riding around with a brother in car, he gets contacted. What are you doing out this late? What's your name? And comes up that he's a runaway, and so they'll give you a call.
Copy.
There are a few interesting things to mention here. She says that someone sent her a video or picture of Gannon walking to his friend's house and holding his Nintendo Switch case, but she never shows the officer this video or picture, which you think she would if she actually had it as proof that, like, he was going somewhere, because it would show them where he was in the neighborhood. So where's the picture of Letecia? She also stated that she attempted to find Gannon at a neighbor's house and even sent her daughter Harley to go find him at a park. But Letecia was unable to provide the actual location of the homes that she went to, the names of Gannon's friends he was supposed to be playing with, or the names of the parents of Gannon's friends. All information parents typically know at least one key aspect of when letting them leave your house to go somewhere. Yep. Most parents would want to know where their kids were in instances just like this. But, just saying, every parent is different, I guess. And Letecia is obviously not most parents, as you'll see. She also mentioned that he had made a search on his phone earlier that day that said, quote, "Can my parents find me if my phone is off?" End quote. But Gannon's phone was still home when he was reported missing. Letecia then tells the officer that Gannon texted his dad asking about bath salts and that she found a cigar in his backpack. I get the vibe that the officers are already thinking that her story doesn't make much sense at this point, and she talks really quickly and in a very nonchalant way for a woman whose stepson is missing. She's giggling and laughing with the officer. She does not sound like a woman who's worried about her son at all. They have a Ring doorbell, but they don't have any recordings to show him coming or going from the residence. And I could be reading into nothing here, but she also takes her sweet time when the officer asks her for her name and date of birth. The whole vibe is honestly just really weird.
I have a 10-year-old daughter. She would never leave the house without her cell phone.
No. Same. Especially, and as a parent, you would be like, make sure you have your phone on you so I can get a hold of you, or
I can track you.
Track you. Exactly. So I know where you are. So why is this phone at home? It doesn't make a lot of sense.
A tip line was established, and investigators received hundreds of phone calls and emails with tips and leads. 2 ransom notes were received via email demanding money in the form of Bitcoin in exchange for Gannon's return. According to the affidavit, investigators, quote, took steps to validate these ransom notes, including resolving and geolocating the IP addresses from the email headers and requesting subscriber information from the internet service providers that hosted those IP addresses, end quote. Turns out, one of the ransom notes was sent from a foreign-based email account accessible by multiple people. Investigators were unable to trace the users of the IP addresses and deduced that the ransom notes were hoaxes just to scheme money, which is sad.
Mm-hmm.
While tips and leads poured into the tip line, search parties and drones were brought in the night Gannon was reported missing. Temperatures were dangerously cold this time of year in Colorado, and authorities wasted no time bringing in helicopters and search dogs. A 10-mile radius was thoroughly combed through, along with drainage ditches and any other place an 11-year-old boy could be hidden. Neighbors also joined the search, but unfortunately no signs of Gannon were found. Who was notably absent from the search? Letecia.
Your kid is missing. Why are you not out looking for him?
I would be that mom, like, barking commands at people, do not come back to me unless you have some information.
I know.
Sitting on my ass on my phone. Never mind, we'll get there.
Oh my God. This woman. Okay. Gannon's father, Al, was notified of his son's missing status and immediately made plans to return to Colorado Springs. Al had spent the night in Denver on January 25th, so he could fly out of the Denver International Airport on January 26th for military training in Oklahoma. On January 28th of 2020, Letecia rented a 2019 Kia Rio from Avis Rent-A-Car in Colorado Springs to pick up Al from the airport at about 9 o'clock in the morning. Leticia's vehicle, a black Volkswagen Tiguan, wasn't experiencing any mechanical failures, and investigators couldn't discern any logical reason why the Tiguan couldn't be driven to the airport. Her explanation to Al about why she rented the car and didn't drive her own was that the Tiguan was a lease, and she didn't want to put the extra mileage on it since they would be driving around to look for Gannon. Even though records show there were only about 71 miles put on the Rio. When Al asked where the Tiguan was, she told him it was parked at French Elementary School. That same day, the case was turned over to El Paso County Sheriff investigators, and detectives conducted interviews, collected surveillance footage, and followed up on additional leads. A not fun fact, but another thing about the car is that she told him that, well, if we're going to be driving around looking for Gannon, I don't want to run up all these miles on our lease. But when they got home from the airport, they got into Al's truck and drove around.
Not the rental, exactly.
Yeah. It's fine. Just lie after lie. Letecia. Mm-hmm.
Jessica Bethel, the lead detective on the case from the El Paso County Sheriff's Office, had contacted Letecia early on in the investigation and requested a meeting with her at the Stauch's residence, which would allow investigators to look for clues while they were there. Letecia was not too keen on that idea and claimed that there were young children in the house, and she didn't want them to overhear the conversation with police. So instead, she offered to meet at a Starbucks. Bethel and Letecia spoke several times on January 28th between text messages, phone calls, and FaceTime. Letecia never showed up that day because she said her stomach was hurting. When Letecia finally showed up for an interview on the 29th, the interview lasted for over 4 hours. When she arrived 2 hours late for the interview, which had been scheduled for 10 a.m., she was driving her freshly washed Tiguan. Surveillance footage from a car wash nearby showed a black SUV matching the description of the Tiguan around 11:30 a.m. Investigators got a search warrant for her vehicle, and it was seized from her while she was at the interview.
The first part of the interview seemed to line up with what she had originally told the police. Letecia, Gannon, and his little sister Lena went hiking at Garden of the Gods on the 26th, the day before Gannon disappeared, and he had mentioned that his stomach hurt. When they arrived home from the hike, Letecia said that the fire alarm went off and she saw smoke coming from downstairs. When she ran down to investigate, she saw Gannon sleeping on the couch next to a small fire that was burning on the floor, and she put it out. She texted Al that evening telling him not to freak out, but that Gannon had knocked over a candle and the carpet had been burned. According to Letecia, Gannon had lit the candle because he had an upset stomach and was trying to cover the smell. Several days later, she releases a video she, quote-unquote, accidentally took right after the incident occurred. We're going to play the audio now, but want to warn you it's pretty hard to listen to, so skip ahead a minute if you don't want to hear the clip.
Gannon, I promise this is the last time I'm going to ask you. I'm just freaked out, okay? Are you sure you didn't do it on purpose?
He did it.
Okay, you promise. He promised.
On purpose.
Pinky promise.
Pinky.
Okay, all right. So listen. We're gonna have to sell stuff to fix it. Okay. So we figure out what we gotta sell. We can sell the sofa. We can sell whatever, because we gotta get it fixed. So, lady, don't be mad at us and kick us out of the house. Okay? You got it?
This is heartbreaking. Letecia continuously asks him to promise he didn't do it on purpose and guilts him about how they're going to have to sell things to fix the ruined carpet. She even shushes him when he says he's just worried about his burns.
Mm-hmm.
That is the sound of a truly distraught child. Eventually, the story evolves into a much more dramatic situation. In a phone call with Al, Letecia tells him when the smoke alarm went off, she found Gannon asleep under a blanket that was on fire. She jumped on top of Gannon to put the fire out, and then they all ran from the house and away from the smoke. Yep, she is truly Superwoman to throw herself onto a fire to save her stepson. Go,
Man.
Dr. T.
Stepmom of the year.
Because he was still complaining of stomach pains, Gannon stayed home from school on Monday, and Letecia took off work to stay with him, as we've said.
Mm-hmm.
That day, Letecia noticed marks and burns on Gannon's arm that began bleeding and peeling, and freaked out because she didn't want Al to find out. She said, quote, "I made a mistake. I swear to y'all, I didn't know they were that bad," end quote. Oh, my mom brain is just getting gird up right now.
Yeah. How do you not notice that?
My kid burns themselves on something. I'm doing everything. I'm keeping an eye on that. And if it gets truly bad, hey, guess what? We're going to the emergency room.
Exactly.
If she literally jumped on top of him to put out a fire, yeah, dumbass, there's going to be burn. Okay, no, I can't go off on tangents because I will get
angry. Yeah.
Letecia and Gannon left the house to go get food and to go to Petco, but Gannon had stayed in the vehicle because he wasn't feeling well. So while she was in the store, Letecia kept an eye on him by walking toward the front of the store to look out the window at her car. They finally arrived home around 2 p.m. This is where her story changes drastically.
Letecia told Detective Bethel that after the candle incident, she drove around the neighborhood and found a construction worker by the name of Eduardo in the new build section. She asked him if he could fix the carpet in her home, and when he said yes, she gave him the code to enter the home, told him where the carpet needed to be replaced, and left $50 on the counter for compensation. She said when they arrived at the house after going to Petco, she heard a noise coming from downstairs, but initially didn't think anything of it because of the man fixing the carpet. Then she heard something in the storage closet and said, quote, "He was standing in there and he had on gloves and he had one of the guns. I was terrified. And then he just knocked me down," end quote. Letecia then claims she began to cry and freak out before she passed out. When she woke back up, Gannon was missing. Letecia said she lied about what happened because she didn't want to face the consequences since she was the one that gave the man the code to the house. An interesting thing to note about the recorded interview is that Letecia showed up with several pieces of notebook paper containing notes that she had written down. Throughout the interview, she kept referencing them and asking if she could just read her notes. Even the detective said that she had conducted hundreds of interviews of subjects, victims, and witnesses, and it is extremely rare for someone to bring notes to an interview. Investigators asked Letecia to elaborate on the events that occurred with Eduardo. Man, I was so scarred, but I need notes to remember what happened.
In the affidavit, Letecia says she and Gannon arrived home from their trip to Petco. She disarmed the security system and headed down to the basement where she was attacked by Eduardo and held at gunpoint. Oddly enough, Eduardo allowed Letecia to go upstairs when her stepdaughter Lena arrived home from school around 3:30, and she sent her outside to ride her bike. Between 3:30 p.m. and 4:30 p.m., she claims that she had been raped by the man, but she believed that she had hit her head and may have blacked out at some point. Investigators made a note that during the interview, they noted no injuries on her head. Letecia also claimed that during the attack, Gannon had jumped on Eduardo's back, but he was able to throw Gannon off across the room. When Eduardo was finished attacking Letecia, she states that he held the gun to Gannon and demanded a suitcase, so she gave him a brown suitcase and a cardboard box. Letecia then says that Eduardo attempted to sexually assault her again, but she hit her head again and blacked out again. Jessica Bethel states that from her training and experience, if an individual holds another person at gunpoint, he or she would likely not allow the person to have the opportunity for escape, as Letecia had described being allowed to greet her stepdaughter upstairs before returning to the basement. She says, quote, "Any reasonable person would have immediately called 911 and reported the home invasion, rape, and kidnapping of their child. Letecia called law enforcement hours later and did not report the alleged rape until approximately 2 days later." End quote.
It really sucks because you don't want to sit here and say that someone's allegation of being attacked is false, but when literally everything that comes out of her mouth is a lie, and the fact that her attacker would let her go upstairs and greet her daughter, and then she would just willingly go back downstairs and continue to get attacked.
So part of that, I think she was thinking like, okay, well, he's got Gannon held hostage, so people will believe that I had to go back to Gannon. Otherwise, he was going to kill Gannon. And, the sexual assault, they're like, no one's going to not believe me. Yeah, no one's going to question me about this. So I can say, I hit my head 97,000 times too. I just fucking...
Oh.
She almost hurts my brain as much as the dumb criminals do.
Seriously. She's like a dumb criminal on steroids with very evil intentions. Yeah.
Of a dumb criminal, but, at least the dumb criminals we talk about, there's not homicide and whatever.
Even though they had their doubts, investigators did take steps to corroborate Leticia's statements. They reviewed video footage from a neighbor's security camera that captured the outside of the Stauch residence on the day Gannon disappeared. They never did see a Hispanic man with brown hair and brown eyes entering the home. They did, however, observed Lena arrive home from the school bus around 3:11 p.m., enter the house, and then saw her riding her bike around 3:30. They also offered Letecia to have a sexual assault nurse examiner conduct a forensic examination at a local hospital, but she did not want to have the exam done. She had been asked to provide any other evidence that could possibly identify Aguardo, but she refused to cooperate. It was at this time that Letecia said she wanted to leave the interview. Investigators seized her cell phone and detained her while trying to get a warrant to collect DNA samples. Letecia began stuffing tissues down her pants. I'm assuming this was an attempt to keep them from taking anything that may have had her DNA on it, and then she complained of chest pains and shortness of breath. She was escorted to the hospital in an ambulance by detectives. During the ride, she was not responsive, but miraculously made a full recovery once she arrived at the hospital. She remained evasive toward detectives once she knew they were actively trying to obtain a warrant for her DNA. Letecia signed herself out and left the hospital before the tests were completed and the warrant had been executed. These are not the actions of a step-parent trying to find their missing child.
The same day that Letecia was being questioned at the EPSO, January 29th, 2020, Al Stauch gave investigators permission to do an initial investigation in the home. Several items were taken from the home, including a pair of size 8.5 Nike shoes that belonged to Letecia. On January 30th, a press conference was held by EPSO to update the public on Gannon's case. Al Stauch and Gannon's mother, Landon, pled to the viewers for help.
I'm Landon Hyatt, Gannon's mom, and I encourage you guys, I know many of you mothers and fathers, I encourage you just to find him. I'm so thankful for all the outpouring help that this case has brought. My son is a very loving kid. He wouldn't want harm on anybody at all. And it's so hard to just think, why is this happening to him? I have no clue, but my kid deserves to come home. My kid has a purpose. My kid has a life. And it's important to me, and it's important to everybody that's standing in this room. Gannon, Bubba, little man, mommy's hero, wherever you're at, mommy and daddy's here. And we're begging and pleading for you to come home. I know that's your biggest wish, is to see mommy and daddy standing here. We're here, Bubba. We're here for you, and I can't wait till you're found, because I have hope that you are going to be found. You are my hero. You are the reason why I have life. He's so special to me. I don't think many people can understand. My child was a 1 pound, 6 ounce baby. He had a 10% chance of survival. If he survived, he will be profoundly disabled. None of that is accurate. He's gifted and talented. Do anything for anybody. So I'm begging, I'm pleading, if anybody has any type of lead, put yourself in my situation. Ask yourself, what would you do? My Savior is a great Savior. And I know I have hope and that my son's going to be here. I'm thankful for the churches, the pastors, the outpouring support from this community, from Albert's military, family, everybody, the detectives. It was you that was sitting at the table, and you told me that 90% success rate, and you told me that I'm going to find Gannon. I believe that. It's the first time I had hope since I got that call on Monday. I have hope. So please have hope with me. I'm begging. Bring my baby home. Bubba, I love you. Mommy loves you so much. Nova loves you. Lena loves you. This room is filled with people that love you, and this community loves you too. So please come home, baby. Please come home.
Yeah, I'd like to reiterate what Landon said, that what an incredible community we have. I mean, everybody in here in a team, incredible team that I came out my front door, I think it was Tuesday, and there was 300 people out there searching my neighborhood. It blew me away. So thank you, everyone. Thank you. Again, and Daddy loves you so much. Please come home.
They both sound so broken. Noticeably missing from the press conference was, you guessed it, Letecia. She and her daughter Harley were not staying in the home at this point. Landon and Letecia had a contentious relationship at best, so it's understandable that the two women wouldn't want to be under the same roof. Some reports actually speculate that Al and Leticia's relationship began while he was still married to Landon. Letecia had a history of posting negative remarks about Landon on Facebook, insinuating that she was a drug user and an unfit mother. Who knows how much of what she said on social media was accurate, but given the way this case unfolds, we're all very aware of who the unfit mother is in this situation. Because EPSO seized Leticia's car and cell phone during her interview on the 29th of January, she obtained a 2020 Nissan Altima that was rented by her aunt. Unknown to Letecia, EPSO was granted a search warrant to install a tracker on the car. She also bought a new cell phone.
On January 31st, reporters are posted outside of the family residence when someone begins yelling at them from a passing car. At first, Spencer Wilson, a reporter for KKTV, thinks it's a man, but upon closer inspection, realizes it's actually Letecia. Very aware of his huge career opportunity, Spencer asked Letecia if she would like to be interviewed and give her side of the story. After discussing with other family members in the vehicle, she agrees to be interviewed, but only if her back is facing the camera. I think Letecia saw this as a chance to clear the air since she's obsessed with social media and had seen her name smeared all over the place as a suspect in Gannon's disappearance. What follows is the audio from that interview.
You are?
I am Leticia Stauch, which is Gannon's stepmother.
You've been a part of the investigation since the very first time. You were the last person to see him. Is that right?
Correct.
What did you see when you last saw him?
Well, I'm not allowed to talk about anything with the case. I would more so be willing to talk about how the community needs to have faith and continue to work together and not make these false accusations, like the things that have been said that I've disappeared from the community. I haven't been there to help, but there's lots of reasons behind that.
Reasons like death threats, right?
Right. Death threats are one of them. My family's getting lots of death threats. We counted over 20-some death threats already. Two, my husband's ex-wife is living in our home, and of course I'm not coming home to do these things and to help with the family when I was kind of like told I couldn't. And then many other things that happened with the El Paso County Police Department, you know, and then during the investigation I was told I wasn't compliant. And could I elaborate on that?
Please do.
Yes, so I asked for an attorney during the interview, and I was denied that by them. I was held because they were blocking the door, and I was told I couldn't leave, and that if I would have touched them, they would have probably, said I still wasn't complying or said I was, trying to run away or something. But during the interview, I asked several times, could I stop the interview? Could I get an attorney? Could I stop the interview? Could I get an attorney? I was denied. I was told I couldn't get nothing to drink. I couldn't go to the bathroom. I mean, it was continuously that my constitutional rights were violated.
And that's why you say that they said then you weren't cooperating with the investigation.
That's why they said I wasn't cooperating at that time, correct.
And why did you ask for an attorney at the time?
Well, I asked for an attorney at the time because there was one individual, there was two really good detectives, and so I'm not, going to talk bad about detectives, but the tactics they started to get when I would answer questions, they try to, they're detectives, they're supposed to twist, the one main goal is to find Gannon. But during that time, some of those things made me feel uncomfortable the way they were saying things, so I immediately stopped and felt like an attorney would help me with some of the vocabulary and things like that I needed help with and understanding some of the things that they were asking.
I'm going to shift gears to what has become a huge online presence of people
Right.
obviously trying to do the right thing, help find Gannon. But at the same time, sometimes it just feels like rumor mongering. Have you seen any of those comments yourself?
We have. And see, that's one of the main things we haven't been around in the public eye because I didn't want to expose my family to it if all these things were going on. You know, there was comments about Gannon getting pushed off the hike, and there was comments about this, and that's just not true. I took care of Gannon for the last 2 years in our home because his mother didn't want to do it. And I would never, never, ever hurt this child. And I know there's some questions out there about, okay, so tell me what happens. That's up to the investigations when they end up letting you guys know, but I've cooperated with them, even to the point that we were held with a gun, and my daughter, a 17-year-old who serves our country in the United States Air Force, who has never committed a crime or done anything wrong in her life, was put in handcuffs over the keys that was in her purse so they could take her car.
And they weren't in there?
They weren't even in her car, in her purse.
And
they were in my pocket.
You originally didn't even know it was the law enforcement officers?
I didn't know it was a law enforcement officer because when he came out, I guess he was putting his jacket on, and it wasn't necessarily his fault. He was adjusting and happened to catch me. But I saw the gun and I panicked originally and kind of thought, oh gosh, I got to, who's this guy? And then once I realized it was the sheriff's office, I was totally okay, but they still had a gun and told me they were going to shoot me. But I was really concerned about my daughter, asking why she was being detained in handcuffs and things like that, when that shouldn't even happen for a child. That shouldn't happen for someone who was standing inside of a store shopping because we couldn't have any clothes because all of our clothes were here. If we came here and got clothes, we would be harassed. So she went to purchase some underwear and things like that and was put in the handcuffs in the store, and then brought out with men with guns. And that's just not okay. They could have approached me and said, hi, I'm with El Paso County. Can I please get this? Instead of the way that it happened.
It almost feels like, to me, like kind of a pitchfork mentality with people. Do you feel safe in Southern Colorado?
Yes, this is a wonderful neighborhood. We picked this neighborhood because it felt like such a great community and the school district's great. And so I really feel safe in Colorado Springs.
But then the community seems to have turned. Is that true?
There's a lot of times that, on the Ring Gap and things like that, we hear of like a burglary every day. And, some of those things you can't always look into and think that it actually happened. You have to kind of wheedle it out. But overall, the community is really good at looking out for each other and coming together in times of need.
I should try and clarify here. Not necessarily crime rates, but the way that people are reacting online to rumors about you with the search.
Oh, yes. Wow. The rumors have gotten so bad. I pretty much have been told at least 10 different ways that these people have these conspiracy theories. I guess they watch a lot of law shows and maybe they have all these theories on how Gannon is dead. And that's what they're saying. So I'm like, why are you saying Gannon is dead? He is not dead. We are going to find Gannon. And that's the main goal that we all have, my family has. Just because you haven't seen us, we have that same goal. We've been out searching. My aunt has been out searching. My family has been out searching. We all have been doing that together so that we could protect each other.
How does it feel when not only you have a lost child who you are in care of, but then people blaming you for that child not being there?
I'm just ready for Gannon to come home. Most importantly, for him to see his family. But second, I am going to be so ecstatic when I'm able to say to people that I hope they have a really sincere apology for all these theories that have came out online, for all the things they said that I have done or people have done. And I just want everyone to know that we're going to find Gannon. And I love him so much. I've helped taking care of him for so long.
Can you talk to me a little bit about him? I don't know him.
Gannon is so kind, and he loves to play video games. That's one of his favorite things. He loves Sonic and Mario, and he's always helpful, and he was always so helpful with the dogs around the house, and we have 2 little cute dogs, and he was always like a person I could say, Gannon, can you go do this? And he would do it right away. Sometimes with kids we have to remind them and things like that, and that's okay, but he was so sweet and able to help anyone. He could notice when you're sick and say, are you okay? And such a kind heart.
I know you just said that you can't say anything about the investigation, so you can just say so again if you can't answer this. But is there anything we can hear about the hike? Was there a hike? That just seems like rumors right now.
You know what? Could we bring my daughter up here? Because she can go and say that, she came home from work after the hike, and she can verify that Gannon was at our home.
Okay, yeah, that's fine with me. If she doesn't want to, that's okay, but you're allowed to ask her. Is that an okay so far?
Yes. I need Harley. I need Hartley. Because they want you to verify was Gannon at home after the hike. Because you didn't go to the hike, but you came home from work.
Do you want me to just say yes?
No, just answer the question. Yes, you came home from work and you can verify Gannon was at home.
That's all.
Yeah. I told her she didn't have to be too in-depth because she is still, a child. But I want to make sure that someone knows that there's another person to verify that Gannon.
Sure.
Does she need to hold this?
No, that's as long as she's close.
Close.
So just stay close. And yeah, actually shift a tiny bit that way. Just half inch that way.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay. And then can you say and spell your name for me real fast?
Harley Hunt, Harley Hunt, Hunt.
Perfect. And so just don't look away from her because the mic's not that way, so you don't have to like face down into it, but just don't look away. I was just asking about the hike.
Yes, so I came home later that evening. I was at work, and I can verify that he was there that night.
So there was a hike that you guys went on, but then you guys came home.
Yes.
Where'd you guys go hiking?
Garden of the Gods.
Garden of the Gods. Okay. I guess when.
And then we ate Burger King afterwards, so,
There you go.
Yeah.
And then it just was, I'm gonna go to play at a friend's house.
So can we step off of here? I don't want her on the.
No worries.
Okay.
Am I good to go to
Yeah.
You did great. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Okay, do it again.
And then it was just, I'm off to go to play at a friend's house.
Unfortunately, I'm not able to comment on that anymore, and for that reason is because some things have been turned and twisted, and that was one of those stories you were talking about where people say things. We had to hear things like who would let their child go out at dark and things like that, and that's just why I don't want to answer that. If I had to give, I'm not gonna say that part.
That's okay.
Never mind.
That's right.
I could take that out.
I understand that it gets tricky with
Yeah.
legal stuff. Do you feel like I asked you what I need to? Do you feel like this is going to help kind of turn the tide of what feels like a witch hunt, in my opinion?
I hope. Am I on camera now?
You are still.
Okay. I think that a lot of people can see that I'm not missing and see that I am being cooperative. But to me, it's okay that they think those things because the way someone thinks about me, I don't have a problem with that. My main thing is I would never want someone to think that I would hurt Gannon or any of the children in our home because that's just not the case. I've spent my whole entire life working so hard in education. There was even things online that was talking about my education license and I shouldn't even be a teacher. And they just didn't know that. Like we moved on a military move and I didn't finish out my contract, so I gave up my license in that state. It had nothing to do with any criminal activity, or any of those things, and it just got blown out of proportion on my professional status, and...
Do you feel like these are just internet detectives who think they know what they're doing?
It definitely is. And here's the thing that kind of saddens me. It's like, if you're going to talk about someone like that and have a witch hunt out for them, why would you even care, about doing those things? Because this is a child. You're telling me that you're just as mean, you're just as hateful to talk about someone else like that. That's how I feel. We just should not. We should all come together and wait until the end and see what happens because Gannon's going to come home.
Any message for Gannon?
The message for Gannon I have is, Gannon, when you get here, you'll be able to truly tell what happened. And then I really hope I get a sincere apology from everyone who has made all those things, especially from my husband.
This entire interview reeks of a woman who is just trying to save her own reputation. At no point during the interview does she sound concerned or scared about Gannon's well-being or his location. Her message to Gannon is self-serving and narcissistic until she realizes that her words may not come off well to the public, and she asks Spencer Wilson if she can redo her statement. Now, this is the same clip, but it's where the emotional message to Gannon begins. It's really short.
We just wanted to add a message to Gannon from my family, is that we love you and miss you, and we hope that you come home soon. And Gannon, I can't wait till you can come home and let everyone know that you're okay. We love you.
I don't have words for how gross this is after hearing her original words for Gannon. It's very interesting how she can go from saying her husband owes her an apology for questioning her about his missing son in one breath, and then begging and crying for Gannon's return in the next. This is such a huge red flag when a person is more concerned about their own reputation than the safety of a child that was in their care.
And what got me about this interview is how she made them position. In the video, Spencer is like to the left and Letecia is directly in front of the camera, but with her back facing it the entire time. She never shows her face. It's just awkward. Mm-hmm. Anyway, that was my thoughts about
no,
that.
It's super awkward. And I don't know if she was trying to like hide her appearance or something so she's less known, but it's like everybody knows who you are already. You're not hiding from anyone, and all you're doing is showing off your greasy ass hair.
And then her coaching Harley into what to say. Yeah. That was I was like, man, if people didn't have doubts before that interview, they sure as hell did after that.
Yeah, all she did was make herself look worse in that moment. Mm-hmm. That's all she did.
The next few days are a whirlwind. Gannon's disappearance gained national attention, and multiple organizations are brought in to help search for him. Not only did the search expand, but multiple warrants were granted by the EPSO to further investigate the Stauch residence. The Metro Crime Lab spent several hours at the home, leaving with multiple evidence bags and other items. We'll go into detail about what was revealed by the evidence later. At the beginning of February, just days after Gannon went missing, Letecia and her daughter Harley packed up and moved out of the house in Colorado Springs. In a show of support for what they believed to be a witch hunt, Leticia's family traveled from South Carolina to Colorado Springs to help her move out of the home. They rented a U-Haul van and began their cross-country journey. Letecia and Harley made an overnight stop near Pensacola, Florida on February 4th, 2020, before continuing their journey to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. On February 3rd, while Letecia and Harley were on their way out of town, a neighbor was reviewing his Xfinity security camera footage when he found a video of Letecia and Gannon leaving their home around 10:15 a.m. on Monday, January 27th. Gannon isn't seen again on video after they arrive back home around 2:14 p.m. The neighbor offered to let Al, Gannon's father, watch the video. When he realized that Gannon never left the house that afternoon, he broke down crying and said, quote, "She lied. She lied about the time. He did not go to a friend's house," end quote. This woman he entrusted with his children lied about where Gannon was on the day he disappeared. Letecia was scrambling at this point. With the presence of the crime lab taking out bags of evidence, national media attention, and more details coming to the surface, Letecia put out a statement on February 11th, 2020. It read,
"First and foremost, I would like to thank all agencies, volunteers, and community members who are working diligently and praying endlessly to bring Gannon home safe. Thank you to my husband who has stayed strong throughout this and protected our family to the best of his ability, and our immediate and extended family members throughout the East Coast. To Gannon, please come home soon because your daddy is waiting to watch the new Sonic movie that comes out this week, and the cool shirt I got you to wear to the theater is in your closet." Social media has been devastating, from the harsh comments, speculations, threats, cyberbullying, etc. It has been a challenge when people are trying to run you off the road, waiting outside your hotel, threatening to kill you, etc. I encourage the sheriff's office to take down those pages that promote negative behavior and violence. Let's do what Gannon would do. Be kind to one another. We all have engaged in something crazy online at some point, but Gannon would want everyone to get along and to focus on finding him. I know that many people have kids and are invested in this because it hits close to home for them. I would like to think that overall, most people are genuine and want to do everything in their power to find G. With that being said, please take a step back for a moment and let me explain to you a few details that were not released. For example, just like the video that was leaked, there are additional details that were hidden due to 1. The department doing its job, 2. The effects of social media and how some individuals would criticize or hinder the investigation. I chose to listen. I didn't leak videos or information, but at this time it's getting later in the process and we just want Gannon home. I feel the need to fill in some gaps. Now let me stress this. Police have known this since the first interview. Saturday night, G was helping me unload in the garage and cut his foot because there are a lot of tools because Albert does woodworking. He sat on the edge of the car and we bandaged it up. He was good to go. He always loves helping his dad in the garage build things like his Lego tables and the flower pot they built for me as a gift. After this, I noticed G kept going to the side of the house. He told me he was checking to see if the gate was locked because he was the only one with a gate key. It made him proud to be the man of the house while Albert was away. Fast forward, we did a hike on Sunday, cleared, and shopping on Monday, cleared as well for him getting out of the other side. Please don't think for a second that there isn't enough of technology to determine shadows and movement around the truck. There was also proof from my phone that we had taken a selfie in the truck in our driveway that was time-stamped. We always send pictures to Albert when we were out and about or when he is away. That can be scanned for actual time verification. Last, from day one, the sheriff's office has known a description of the person/friend whom Gannon left with. I explained to them and provided evidence. They had information about G having the key to go out the side gate. Last, they have more in-depth details that go along with this, pointing to who sent the person or why he may have come. Again, I repeat, they have had this initially, and I was asked to keep quiet about it so they could have the best shot at doing their job and bringing G home. The last thing that they needed was a hindrance to their investigation. I encourage you to think of any suspicious cars that may have been in the area watching a few days prior and keep praying for G. Signed, Leticia Stauch.
That is a long freaking statement.
Yeah.
I hate to say this, but she makes good points about the police having more information than what they are releasing to the public. This is standard procedure when investigating a murder, disappearance, or some other circumstance. And while she does make a valid point, some may also look at this statement and see a woman who's being extremely defensive.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, when talking about her missing stepson, she manages to make the conversation more about herself than Gannon. Letecia says the police know which friend Gannon was with that afternoon, even though Letecia told the police she didn't know where he went.
Yeah.
Also, she's explaining a situation in the garage where Gannon cut his foot 2 days before he disappeared. How is this relevant to his disappearance?
Mm-hmm.
Is she telling this story to explain away the blood found in the garage? ? Besides these odd statements, the timeline doesn't make sense. If Gannon's foot was injured badly enough to bleed and need bandaging on Saturday evening, why would they go on a hike in the Garden of the Gods on Sunday? Then on Monday, he's too sick to go to school, but doesn't go to his doctor's appointment and runs errands with Letecia. And he's homesick from school, but allowed to go to a friend's house that afternoon? No, my kids, if they're sick, you're staying home. That's
right.
it.
If you've missed school, you're not going to a friend's house, whether it's because you're actually sick with something that could be contagious, or it's just the fact that you've missed school at all. You're not going to go play.
No.
No.
We know at this point that there's no proof of him leaving the home again that day. Unfortunately, weeks go by and there is no sign of Gannon. Police extend their investigation north of Douglas County, Colorado, to an area north of Palmer Lake off of Highway 105. On February 21st, law enforcement announced that they were suspending their search for Gannon, but the investigation would continue.
Believe it or not, more inconsistencies start popping up in Leticia's story. She initially stated that Gannon walked to a friend's house, but when that friend was questioned, they said they never saw him that day. Her stories dramatically changed multiple times since Gannon's disappearance. She rented cars under suspicious circumstances, refused to comply with police, and even moved out of the state during the investigation. And the investigators were onto her. So much so that on March 2nd of 2020, Letecia was finally arrested. The 32-page affidavit, which is the document that outlines probable cause in support of her arrest, is absolutely bonkers. But you'll have to wait until next week's episode for all of the juicy details.
We know. We are so mean for leaving this on a cliffhanger. But Gannon deserves for his story to be told thoroughly and completely. Also, I think we could all use a break from Leticia Stauch for a few days. Yeah. What do y'all think? Is she the shadiest person ever, or have you heard worse?
I don't know. She's pretty high up there for me, personally.
I think our mom ties there have something to do with that.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Go subscribe on your listening app right now so you don't miss the next part of this case. Trust us. You don't want to miss the details in the affidavit. We've gone over some, but there's so much more.
So much more. This is just the surface. Trust me, you really don't want to miss it. If you think she's hiding something now, just wait until you hear about the other stunts this woman pulls. I'm not going to lie, I've never been this investigated in a case we've covered. Amber can speak to that.
And it's funny because I've been following this case. I've known about it. I said, let's do this. And then you have just dove headfirst into it.
I got obsessed. I'm not really sure if it's because I have a 10-year-old son and this hits too close to home, or if it's just because that I didn't know it was possible for a mother to be so conniving and evil. It might be a combination of both. Probably. Send us your thoughts on this case by emailing us at weirdtruecrime@gmail.com or sending us a DM on Instagram or TikTok at weirdtruecrime. We're going to go hug our babies now. Until next week, stay safe.
And make good choices.
Bye.